Hello, everybody, and welcome to our YouTube Live special presentation of the Hot Stock panel for April. Explosive stocks looking to rebound. Glad to have you here. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. I will be your host for the next 2.5 days. No, don't worry about it. It's not going to be that long. All right. It may feel that way, as Jim says. As you can see here, I've got my esteemed colleagues, Steve Chappell, Patrick France, and Jim Penna. As you can see, we are exercising social distancing as we're doing the panel this afternoon as well. All right, so the stream is all about the hot stocks for the month of April that are hopefully going to be looking to rebound. You're going to have 4 different perspectives to look at about 10 different stocks. As I mentioned, who's here today, and if you're new to this, we'd like for you to subscribe to our page. Right below this video that you're seeing live, you should see a big old red subscribe button. If it ain't red, that means you're already subscribed. You're good to go. So, as I mentioned, all of the people that are sitting here, we're going to start with me. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here. I've been with VectorVest for about 16 years. So I am in the education department. I am in the education department as well. All 4 of us are, and we carry out a lot of different duties within that department, as each one of us will tell you. I have a lot to do with the Jockey Club along with Steve Chappell. I have Trending Thursday on YouTube here every Thursday. I also have Training Tuesday every Tuesday, excuse me, at 2 p.m. And I have the Derby weekly series also every Monday at 2 o'clock. So I'm involved a lot with videos, whether they're live stream or audio based. First thing we're going to do, we're going to start with our watch list of stocks. Here are our watch list of stocks that we're going to cover today. And each one of us has picks. Steve and Patrick both have 3 picks, and Jim and myself both have 2 picks to comprise a list of 10 stocks. And here they all are, and we're going to start off with a couple of mine, which, excuse me, which happen to be at the top of the list. And this list is sorted by our master indicator, VST. All right, just so happens that a lot of the stocks that we're looking at have VSTs above 1, which is not half bad, especially in this market as well. And as someone said, you're absolutely right, Jay. In the background, who's making us all look good in the background is Joey. Say hi, Joey. Hi. He's my producer, but he's producing this as well.
That's no easy task.
That is no easy task to do what Joey does. So thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. And Joey appreciates that too, because when I don't do it, he gets mad at me. So with that being said, here's all 10 stocks. We're going to start off with my first 2 picks, which happen to be REGN and Vrtx. Both of them happen to be biopharmaceutical companies, especially in this day and time with the COVID-19. Thank you, Dan. Especially with this time with the COVID-19, these kinds of stocks are playing a big role in the market. As you can see today, they are both down. One of them is undervalued, and that is Regen. Vrtx is a little bit overvalued. But looking at our fundamental indicators and technical indicator and RT, they all across the board have values above the value of 1, which makes them all favorable. They are buy recommendations. And another thing that I liked about them is that they are both growing their earnings at a clip of double-digit numbers as well. All right, now what we're going to do is start to go into those graphs. My first pick was Vrtx. Now, keeping in mind what, as I mentioned, what's going on in the market, pharmaceutical stocks, and this is about explosive stocks this week, right? Well, I took a little bit of the low-lying fruit with the VSTs above the value of 1 to show you the stocks that even through the COVID-19 debacle that we have, or better word, pandemic, what it really is, these stocks didn't feel the full brunt of the pull down because they are in that space of the biomedicals. And I've got a 20-day exponential moving average, which will help to place the trade, get in at the right time. I'm also using support and resistance. Currently, today's price of Vrtx over the last 2 days is pulled back, but coming to a level of support, which I would use as a means to say, if I own the stock right now, just hold off on it. Let it be. If the stock's price breaks down below the 20-day moving average or that level of support, probably a good reason to pull it off. I also like the earnings. The earnings over this whole time period, definitely moving higher on a 6-month basis from the lower left to the upper right, steadily moving higher. Earnings is the engine that drives the stock's price higher. Now, also understanding what's going on, earnings probably will be affected somewhere down the line, but I'll talk about that, or we'll look at that when the time comes. But if I'm looking to get into it right now as a rebounding stock, I'd wait to see if the stock can bounce off of this level of support and then let it take out that high as a means to getting in. But overall, over the last 6 months, the stock has had more of an upward move than a downward move as a good opportunity to get into the stock and hold on to the stock. And I love the earnings per share. All right, with that all being said, Steve, you have any feedback on it?
Well, I like your commentary around the stock. Obviously, it has been resilient. Therefore, I'm not sure how much upside is there. I think would be the kind of the give and take there. When we look at the current price action, I'm finding some comfort in that it seems to be responsive to the support line that you have drawn. I think that area is a little cloudy though. So I would definitely wait, as you suggested. I think the best thing to do to cope with what I see there is to wait for it to get back towards the highs, I think. But it could very well begin to bounce off of today's action, so maybe even a higher open tomorrow, and you could start nibbling at VRTX.
Excellent. Thank you. Patrick or Jim? Or Patrick and Jim?
Go ahead, Patrick.
I think it looks good.
Well, thank you for that detailed commentary, Patrick. Jim?
I don't really have anything back.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'll just comment quickly. I agree with what Steve said. I like the idea that, that support, if it can hold that. I don't know what those increments are there. That might be a big move at that price of a stock to get to the high.
Right.
I can't really see it from. They stuck me in the back, so I can't even see the comments on the thing. So
I can't either.
I'm the old man, and I feel like I'm in high school again, but I'm the old man in the back. But I do like the fact it holds support. What I also like, Glenn, I don't know if you mentioned it, but Glenn's, and he will.
I will
show you. But the relative safety on the stock, just based on where the stock comes from, it happens to be found in the ruler stock search, gives me a lot more confidence. Again, oftentimes I'm looking at it from a longer term, but I like the relative safety of it for sure.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to move into my next stock. And the question came up is, what stock are we looking at? If you look in the middle of the screen, it tells you what the stock is, and it also tells you what industry the stock is in. So it's VRTX, which is Vrtx Pharmaceutical. It's in the drug, biomedical, genetic industry. My next stock in this case is going to be another one, REGN,
Regeneron.
Yeah, that. Regeneron, also in the same space. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Stock, again, in the same midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, definitely moving from the bottom left to the top right. I am looking at a 6-month graph. There's my 20-day exponential moving average. Notice that this is a second stock that has also responded to a level of support, bounced off support, hit a new high, came back down, went below the 20-day exponential moving average, tested that level of support, did not break down below, and definitely looks like it's got an opportunity to go up. But as it's going up, attacking that level of the high, which is a new level of resistance, the bars are getting smaller. That could be market sentiment, could be changing on the stock, but I am looking at the two things. Looking at the 20-day exponential moving average along with that level of support as a means to help me to guide through that stock. But from an explosive standpoint or a continuing upward move, the graph is the story. It is the DNA. It's the DNA of the stock. The graph is bottom left, top right, a little topsy-turviosity. That is a Glenism. Yes, it is. A little jagicity as well, a little bit more volatile, but definitely above. Earnings still looks good. And if the market continues to move higher, hopefully this will. Definitely want to see it take out that high. But this does concern me a little bit in that we've got a little bit of doji action going on. Not a whole bunch of move on the open and close, but a lot of move up and down with the wicks. So I'll keep my eye on that. All right, Steve.
All right, so for anybody that's new, Jagicity generally refers to a channeling stock that's moving sideways. That's got some, pretty good pivots, both swing lows and swing highs.
Pivot.
What you're struggling with is the high side of the channel right now. One of the reasons that I do like the pick, it's a great stock overall. But on the other side of the spectrum, they're very much in the coronavirus conversation. And one of the leaders in terms of a potential vaccine in the future. So, not only are you getting a great caliber stock that's been very resilient, you have that to potentially look forward to as well. I would definitely wait for the break of the high here at this stage, or wait for a pullback back to where you've already stopped 3 times before. Because if it doesn't break north, it's going to go there, right? And that'll give you your next great buying opportunity on regen. Based on what I see here so far, I'm waiting for the pullback to that support line.
All right, Patrick.
I mean, just shows, like you talked about, the doji's forming over the last few days, shows a lot of weakness at that high, not a lot of confidence, that people are going to break through that resistance right there. You have a triple top essentially from that point. And, as we talk about, support and resistance is the ultimate crowd mentality indicator. And if you can't break those highs, the crowd shows that we don't have a lot of confidence that it's going to continue to move up more. So that's the only thing I see that I'd be worried about right now.
Jim.
Yeah, same thing. I would just put a buy stop, right? And just buy it above that high and leave it there.
Yep.
The other great thing, high RS, look at those earnings per share. Another high RS stock, another ruler stock. So in that sense, I love it.
As Jim was talking, these 2 stocks were found in a search. I'm going to go to the Unisearch real quick. Was found in a search within the searches prudent folder. And this is the search that was run, ruler stocks. VRTX is the #1 stock in that search, sorted by RS times GRT, which is earnings growth rate. And further down the list, there is RGen. So I know that this is explosive rebounding stocks, but I did take advantage of the stocks that were currently making money in the market because it makes sense. These 2 stocks could be.
That's a different stock, by the way.
Which one? You're right. There it is. REGN. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
All right, but nonetheless, they're in a good search, and I stepped out of the fray for a little bit to go with the low-lying fruit in what was already moving, even in this volatile market, to find the 2 stocks on my 2 candidates that we went with. All right.
And then Paul made a comment, isn't that a head and shoulders pattern when looking at your stock too?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how to read Head and Shoulders. I ain't gonna lie.
So it's not exactly,
Cup and
but
handle,
you have the neckline being that support line. You have the left shoulder right there. You have the new hive being the head. This could be possibly forming it, but not. It's not the most pretty, but it's a rough version of one.
I would rather to look at it, if I'm looking at it from that perspective, is probably the triple top more so than the Head and Shoulders.
Yeah, but if it breaks that support, that's just more confirmation, essentially,
All right.
that a downward move could come in. A bigger downward move could come in too.
So we'll see.
Hence the beauty of the buy stop.
Yep.
Joanne, where's that at, Joey? I missed. Oh, show the horizontal buy, hold, sell in the top of the chart, please. There we go. I can put in the recommendations. And the stock over the last 6 months has been a hold or a buy for the last 6 months, even with all of the volatility in the market. But keep in mind the space that it's in. Keep in mind the space that it's in. It makes sense that both of those stocks should be a little bit more resilient than a lot of other stocks because of the space that they're in. All right? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Now, if you're new to the software or would like refresher information about the software, click on this Getting Started video right here. Thanks to all of your input, here's a YouTube video that we think would be perfect for you. Click right here. If nothing else, folks, just hit the subscribe button right here.